Hi, welcome to the National Quiz Choice Online News, and today we have a very special guest with us. It's none other than Madam Grazyna Lallemand. She's actually the consultant in international strategy and export development for Bordeaux area of France, and she also specializes in international trade and development. Ms. Grazyna, thank you for joining us here at the National Quiz Choice.
Thank you.
Please tell us more updates and the historical background of French wines. I mean, you have been doing this for many, many years now. So tell us more. What is French wines, and as well as the historical background of the terroir.
Yes, of course. Hello, my name is Grazyna Lallemand, and I live in the Bordeaux region. I would like to thank Robin Stienberg for inviting me to talk about French wines. So I would like to start by introducing myself and say a few words about what I do before I expound on French wines. I have been exporting French wines worldwide for more than 10 years. At present, as a voluntary, I run an association called Calestis, from Latin Celest, Celestial, which I created with my friend Alan Wex from Chateau Fonroc to raise funds on the international level for World Wildlife Fund and raise awareness about environmental impact of wine production and consumption. Calestis is also the name for the first non-commercial brand we created among the prestigious Bordeaux Grand Cru classified growers, and is dedicated entirely to WWF. This fine wine from the Chateau Fonroc is a true rarity because among 176 Bordeaux Grand Cru Classé wines, only 3 are certified biodynamic. So in fact, less than 3% are organic. Each year, a different celebrity autographs the original label, the specially designed label, and Calestis is auctioned mainly in London, New York, and soon in Hong Kong annually, with all the proceeds going to WWF. This year, we appeal to art students from all countries to donate their paintings for this year's charity on the theme Vineyard and Wine. And we are glad to say that the RMIT University from Australia has already shown interest. Participation in the Calestis project will give artists the opportunity to contribute to WWF, explore wine culture and the vineyard environment in their own country. All artwork paintings will be included in a video, free to access, to show an extraordinary journey through the world vineyards with the wonderful music Calestis Impromptu, donated by a generous Oscar-winning composer. You can learn more about the subject by visiting our internet site, calestis-bio.com. Many people worldwide love French wines, so I hope that you will find the introduction to this broad subject interesting. French wine is produced all throughout France in quantities about 60 million hectoliters per year. That is about 8 billion bottles. France is, of course, one of the largest wine producers in the world, together with Italy, Spain, and the USA. The wines produced range from expensive, high-end, internationally known wines to more modest, usually only seen within France. French wine traces back its history to the 6th century BC, with many of France's regions dating the winemaking history to Roman times. During the Middle Ages, monks maintained vineyards and produced wine for celebrating Mass. Throughout its history, the French wine industry has been shaped by many influences, both external and internal. 3 major prominent influences came from the English, the Dutch, and the Catholic Church, which held considerable vineyards properties until the French Revolution. In the 12th century, the marriage between the Eleanor of Aquitaine and the future King Henry II of England brought a large portion of southwest of France under the British rule. In the 16th and 17th century, the Dutch had influence over the development of French wine. To make the wine travel and increase the life expectancy, they added brandy to the wine to stop fermentation. They also introduced a method of sulfuring the wines. The advance of the French wine industry was stopped abruptly by first a fungus called mildew and then the phylloxera bug, which spread throughout the country and the Europe, leaving vineyards desolate. Then, following the two world wars, the French wine industry didn't fully recover for decades. In reply to foreign competition, which threatened the brands such as Champagne and the Bordeaux, the Appellation d'origine contrôlée, that means appellation of control origin, classification system to protect French interests, was introduced in 1935. Large investment and the new generation of vignerons immediately results in the 70s and the following decades, creating the modern French wine industry that we know today. Foreign influences are still particularly strong in Bordeaux region, where Germans, Americans, Japanese, Russians, and more recently Chinese have bought chateau properties. All French vintners are now organized in an association called l'Office National Interprofessionnel des Vins, abbreviated ONIVA. And France was the first country to legislate a system to clarify and codify viticulture practices and protect geographical names of origin. Many of other European systems are modeled after it. Today, France has over 450 different appellations d'origine contrôlée, and AOC designation helps consumers in determining the range, styles, and quality. Out of more than 2 million acres of vineyards in France, half are dedicated to AOC wines. And since 2012, French law divides wine into three categories, two falling under the European Union quality wine produced in a specific region designation, and one under table wine category. These categories, of course, exclude cognac, armagnac, and other brandies. So AOP means appellation of protected origin and is the highest category, which replaces AOC system. Then is IGP, that's protected geographical identification, which works together with the Vin de Pays, the country wine. And then there is a Vin de Table, which is now called Vin de France. It's a table wine category. So, of course, all common styles of wine are produced: red, rosé, white, dry, semi-sweet, sweet, sparkling, and fortified. In many respects, French wines have more of a regional than a national identity, as evidenced by different grape varieties, production methods, and classification systems. Quality level and prices vary enormously. Some wines are made for immediate consumption, while others are meant for long-time cellaring. So, since the French tradition is to serve wine with food, wines have seldom been developed or styled as bar wines for drinking on their own. But many wines, of course, can be served as an aperitif, such as champagne, rosé, or some dry white wines with a personality. In general, white wines are to be served at a lower temperature than reds. The pairing of wine and food is an art, and best advice is to match flavors of the wine with those traditionally paired with a food item. For example, Pinot Noir often tastes of cranberries and cherries. It is therefore a great match for turkey or duck. The citrus flavors of Sauvignon Blanc go well with the fish, and the pepper typical of Syrah or Grenache pairs well with most red meat. So for red meat, we can serve full-bodied reds such as Bordeaux, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Hermitage. For white meats, for instance, white and red Burgundy, Gigondas, Côte d'Iron. For pasta, Languedoc wines work very well. And of course, wine and cheese make a wonderful combination, especially if they both originate from the same region. And dessert wines should be served sweeter than the dessert with which they are served. So choose full bodies sweet wines such as Sauternes, Muscat, or late harvest Chenin-based wine. Most of the so-called international varieties are of French origin. In France, 56 varietals are grown, 30 whites, 23 reds, 2 grey, Pinot Gris, Grenache Gris, and one pink, Gewürztraminer, one of my favorites from the Alsace. Traditionally, many wines have been blended from several grape varieties. Most are primarily associated with a certain region, such as Cabernet Sauvignon in Bordeaux and Syrah in Rhône. Although some varietals are still found in 2 or more regions, such as Chardonnay in Bourgogne, including Chablis and Champagne, and Sauvignon Blanc in the Loire Valley and in Bordeaux. The concept of terroir is very important to French vineyard. It refers to the unique combination of natural forces associated with any particular vineyard, such as soil, underlying rock, altitude, slope, orientation towards the sun, and microclimate, so typical rain, winds, humidity, temperature variations. Even in the same area, no two vineyards have exactly the same terroir. This why the appellation d'origine contrôlée system recognizes this particularity. In other words, when the same grape variety is planted in different regions, it can produce wines that are significantly different from each other. Now let's mention French labeling practices. Wine in general is the only food product in the world that does not require the list of ingredients nor nutritional value figures. So I could explain the mandatory and optional wording for French wine by taking an example of Château Fonroc Saint-Emilion Grand Cru Classé, which participates in the Calestis project. So the front label, of course, is designed to attract consumers, whereas the back label has all the necessary legal mentions. So basically, the optional mentions are the vintage and the name of the varietals. However, for sparkling wines, the level of sweetness is mandatory. And then, of course, we have all the mandatory wording, and such as classification, Grand Cru Classé Saint-Emilion, mise en bouteille, that means where it was bottled. Here it was estate bottled mise au château, and of course the name of the producer, the alcohol degree, the volume, the health warning for pregnant women, the presence of allergens, contains sulfites, lot identification number, which is here, and of course where the country where it is being produced, in this case Produit de France. And particularity for the organic wines is that it has a European leaf logo, which indicates the certification with the wording organic wine. And for the biodynamic wines, Château Fonroc has a certification by the French body Biodiva. That's a French label. Another certification which certifies the origin of biodynamic products, it's called Demeter.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, that's very complicated. With the exception of wines from the Alsace region, France has no tradition of labeling wines with grape varieties used. So if the names are displayed, then the common European rules apply. So for a single varietal, the wine must have a minimum 85% of this variety. And if 2 or more names are used, then the displayed varieties are allowed in descending order. There is another particularity in France. It's a special logo which shows a winemaker carrying a barrel, and is usually printed on the foil cap covering the cork. It's called Vigneron Indépendant. It's a special mark adopted by some independent winemakers. Now let's take a tour de France of the 12 main wine regions. On this map, you can see the size of wine areas under AOC by region. The wine areas in France are regulated by a powerful oversight board, the Institut National des Appellations d'Origine, INAO, in acronym, in regards to the individual region's particular wine character. If a wine fails to meet the INAO's criteria, it is classified into Vin de France. Appellations are defined into the main wine producing region, and Bordeaux has the largest surface area, which represents 25% of the total. The second is the Rhone Valley, and the third is the Loire Valley. On the map of French vineyards, you can see the location and the size of each one region. Bordeaux is a large region on the Atlantic coast, which has a long history of exporting its wines overseas. The main appellations are also Bordeaux, Bordeaux Supérieur, Les Côtes, Médoc and Grave, Saint-Emilion, Pomerol, Fronsac. The most prestigious wines are raised in oak barrels. The local particularity is the dark rosé called Claret, introduced to this region by the British, and another white or rosé sparkling wine, Crémant de Bordeaux, produced by the Méthode Champenoise like other Crémant de Loire and de Bourgogne. The first classification dates back to 1855, when Napoleon required identification of the best wine producers of the Medoc region. Thus, the 61 best wines were classified according to a league table of Grand Cru. This is primarily a red wine region, famous for the wines such as Château Lafite, Rothschild, Latour, Mouton Rothschild, Margaux, Aubryon, and in Saint-Emilion, Château Cheval Blanc, Auxonne, in Pomerol, Petrus and Le Pin. Bordeaux also makes dry and sweet white wines, including some of the world's most famous sweet wines from the Sauternes appellation, such as the Château d'Yquem. Many people have heard of legendary wines from Burgundy, such as Romanée-Conti, considered the rarest and the most expensive wine, which is also a biodynamic wine, or Hospice de Beaune wines, which have been traditionally auctioned annually for hospital charities since 1851. Burgundy, or Bourgogne in eastern part of France,
Yes.
is a region where red wines and white wines are equally important. Probably more terroir conscious than any other region. Burgundy is divided into the largest number of appellations of any French region. The top wines from Burgundy, headland in Côte d'Or, command high prices. The Burgundy region is divided in four main parts, taking their names from the cities that vineyards surround: Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, Côte Chalonnaise, de Mâconnais. Two parts of Burgundy are sometimes considered as separate regions, Beaujolais and Chablis. Beaujolais is in the south, close to the Rhone Valley, and has most red wines made in a fruity style that are usually consumed young. That's Beaujolais Nouveau. And it is the only appellation wine that can be legally consumed in the year of its production. There are 12 appellations in Beaujolais: Beaujolais Village, and 10 crus, among them Brouilly, Flory, Saint-Amour, Juliénas, Morgon. Chablis has white wines produced on a chalky soil, which give them more crisp style than the rest of Burgundy. Now let me mention the best known brand of sparkling wine in the world, the Champagne, which is located northeast of Paris and is the coldest of France's major wine regions. Champagne wines can be both white and rosé. A amount of still white and red wine is produced as AOC Coteau Champenois. And the story goes that in 1531, it was a monk in the Languedoc region of Limoux that discovered the process of turning still wine into sparkling wine, and not the Benedictine monk Dom Perignon. Loire Valley is primarily a white wine region, where grape varieties vary along the Loire river, and it has 4 subregions. Upper Loire is known for its Sauvignon Blanc, producing wines such as Sancerre. Touraine produces cold climate style wines, dry, sweet or sparkling from Chenin Blanc in Vouvray, and red wines from Cabernet Franc in Bourgogne and Chinon. Anjou-Saumur is similar to the Touraine wines, but the dry Savagniers and sweet Coteaux du Layon are often more powerful than their upstream neighbors. Saumur and Saumur-Champigny provide reds. Pays-Nantais, close to the city of Nantes and to the sea, is known for the dry white Muscat from the Melon de Bourgogne grape. Rhone Valley is primarily red wine region in south of France along the Rhone River. The style and varietal composition of northern and southern Rhone differ, but both parts compete with Bordeaux as traditional producers of red wines. The most famous is Châteauneuf de Pape, made of 13 varieties, and it is located in the most southern part of the Rhone Valley. Languedoc-Roussillon is the largest region in terms of vineyard surface and production. Hence, it has produced bulk wines. It is also the home of some innovative producers who combine traditional French wine like Blanquette de Limoux, the world's oldest sparkling wine, and international style of varietal wines. Much Languedoc-Roussillon wine is sold as Vin de Pays d'Oc, IGP, protected geographical area. Provence, in the southeast, close to the Mediterranean, is the warmest wine region and produces mainly rosé and red wine. It covers 8 major appellations with its flagship Bandol. Some Provence wine can be compared with the southern Rhone wines, as they share the same grape varietals to some degree, style and climate. Provence has also a classification of its most prestigious estate, just like Bordeaux Chateau. Of course, there are smaller wine regions, Alsace, Jura, and Savoy, and Corsica, which is an island. Alsace is primarily a white wine region, though some red, rosé, and sparkling wines are also produced. Grapes known in Alsace include Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, Blanc, Noir, Muscat. Jura is close to Switzerland and produces some unique styles, notably Vin de Jaune and Vin de Paille. This region has 6 appellations and is related to Burgundy through its extensive use of the Burgundian grapes Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and cool climate. Savoy, primarily a white wine region in the Alps, close to Switzerland, cultivates many grapes unique to this region. Corsica has wines that are primarily consumed on the island itself. It has 9 appellation regions and Vin de Pays. Southwest of France is more diverse collection of wine areas, and some areas have wines in a style similar to red Bordeaux, while others are produce dry or sweet white wines. So areas include Bergerac of upstream Dordogne River, upstream Garonne River includes Cahors. Areas in Gascony are home to the Madiran, Côte de Gascogne, and Bern has Jurançon, and there are also some wines in Basque country, very close to in Pyrenees. Finally, I would like to mention French spirits, eau de vie and cognac and Armagnac derived from wine, which are indicated on the map. The cognac in Charente region is a major wine area. Its wine is mostly used for distilling into cognac or else for the production of an aperitif wine known as Pinot de Charente. Some wine is produced under the Vin de France label. Armagnac is a distinctive kind of brandy produced in Gascony. It is distilled from wine traditionally using column stills rather than pot stills that are used in cognac. The resulting spirit is then aged in oak barrels before release. Armagnac was one of the first areas in France to begin distilling spirits, but the overall volume of production is smaller than cognac and sold by small producers.
Wow.
France has traditionally been the largest consumer of its own wines. However, wine consumption has been dropping in France for 40 years. According to statistics from 2011, the USA consumes more. Therefore, French wine producers rely on foreign markets. However, overall consumption has also been dropping in other traditional markets such as Italy, Spain, and Portugal. Luckily, consumption is still growing in China, Russia, and India, and there is a rise of consumption in organic wines, especially in Nordic countries. After 2 record years, French wine export maintained its position with 11.1 billion euros last year. The wine industry remains the second biggest cash earner after the aeronautic industry. It can be said that a new trend in wine production is emerging, as more and more producers take environmental considerations seriously, and also in reply to a slightly larger demand for organic wines. Witness to this trend is the annual Millésime Bio in Montpellier, an exclusively organic professional wine fair, which has been growing for almost 20 years and represents nowadays 13 producing countries. Consumers, as well as producers, start to see advantages of organic viticulture. For the growers, the aim is to maintain soil fertility, not to use synthetic fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, synthetic pesticides, nor genetically modified organisms. Winemaking in harmony with nature while respecting very strict winemaking regulations. Ethical values such as ecology, preservation of the earth, solidarity and equity. Economic, the human scale business, fair prices and local distribution. French wine regions trade councils such as the Bordeaux Wine Trade Council set up processes for sustainable development with measures such as the carbon balance, the climate plan, and the environmental management system for the wineries with the ISO 14001 certification. So in 2013, 10% of the total Bordeaux region obtained this certification. Today, organic farming represents less than 8% of French vineyards. The main producing regions are Languedoc-Roussillon, Provence, and Aquitaine. The Languedoc-Roussillon region on its own represents nearly 25% of organic wine producers. However, among Bordeaux Grand Cru Classé, as I mentioned previously, organic wines represent less than 3%. As we can all see, more efforts need to be done on the part of both producers and consumers. This is why, through the Calestis Association, we would like to encourage producers to increase their organic wine production and consumers to make ethical, environmental, and healthy choices. Thank you very much for your attention.
No, thank you, madam. It's such a insight that you have shared with us of where the wine industry, the champagne industry, and even the brandy or whiskey industry is going for France. Now, I have a question from Malaysia, and that is, madam, could you tell us uh, about the certification of champagne? Because we have found out that China and some other countries have tried to create a imitation of French champagnes. Now, how can we tell is a genuine certified French champagne? And could you also elaborate how did this process of of identifying uh, what is champagne and what is not champagne?
Um, Many producers now face difficulty with the fake wines, not only in Champagne area, but also among Bordeaux Grand Cru Classé. So the solution was to to indicate on the wine label or on the capsule to insert a special a special um, special make, so the computer when the bottle is scanned, it can recognize and it identify the origin of the bottle. Also, you have the lot number indicated always on the bottle. So by this lot number, you can call the producer, and you can find out and trace the wine to the source. So the best guarantee for the consumer is to double check that is really buying a genuine wine. So and of course the protection of the brand is also guaranteed by the words. Sometimes those which are fake wines have mistakes in the text. So there are many ways of checking this, but the best, of course, is to check if the name actually exists. And now with the internet, we can do this. You can always find who is the producer and go back to where the bottle was bought and find out from the shop how you can trace the bottle. But usually it is traceable.
And another question for you is, what makes a good champagne? What is the definition of good champagne to the French?
Well, the best champagnes, of course, are those which are elaborated with different vintages, to keep the best balance. And of course is the way that the bubbles are exploding. They must be very small. So that's make a difference between an ordinary sparkling wine and champagne. And of course, it has to be made of Chardonnay most of the time. So it is important that when you open a bottle, you check that the way the bubbles are going up, to see whether the quality is there, and of course the taste. It is very difficult for some people to recognize the taste of champagne if they are not used to drinking it, of course.
Now, the next question, and probably the last question, we don't want to tire your time, and that is from Indonesia. Dear Madam, can you tell us more about where France is going with the future of sealing? Because at the moment you're using French corks, oh no, sorry, corks that is made from Portugal and other countries. But do you
Natural.
natural corks? But do you foresee that in the near future, probably 10 to 15 years or more, that corks will no longer be relevant, but we'll be using screw caps? So what is your your perception?
Well, my vision is a long-term vision. It means that we will need the real cork from the forest in Portugal and in Spain to maintain the quality of excellent wines. Of course, this is the price to pay, and for cheaper and wines that we can drink straight away. Maybe that will be a solution that some consumers will accept, that caps, screw caps are more convenient to use. But I don't think that in a long term, the cork will disappear completely. I hope not, because this is a natural product, and a lot of producers rely on this natural resource.
Now, for every harvest, does France right now facing a huge labor shortages? Is that true?
For every harvest, it is difficult, yes, to get people to pick up the grapes. It is hard work, but we manage. We manage. We get a lot of students to come from different countries and to contribute to the harvest.
Amazing. So what's next for France right now? I mean, you're still producing great wines and brandies and so forth. What's next for France? What do you see in the next 5 years?
In terms of quality
The
or
quality of wines, yes.
wines. What I would like to see is that more and more producers produce organic ones, because not only of environmental consideration, but because they really taste better, and it has been recognized in a blind tasting that if we really taste the wine from the same terroir, and many chateaux do this kind of tests before actually before they being certified or turning actually to organic, 100% organic. They can recognize that there is the taste, the bouquet is much more expressive, and is not hindered by any other unnecessary taste, and the length in the mouth is much longer and more smooth than non-organic ones. So
Really? Wow.
the thing would be to taste those wines when you have an occasion, from the same producer, from the same terroir, because it can be proven scientifically that there is a difference in taste.
So there'll be more demand for organic wines in the coming future.
Yes, it is already the case in the Northern Europe, but this is the government which is the monopoly in Scandinavia, which wishes the consumers to consume more organic wines. So they have invited organic wine producers to sell more wines into the country. I mean, they would like to import more and more organic wines. So it could be a shortage actually with organic wines, if we consider that it takes 3 years to be converted from the non-organic production. So you can imagine that it takes 3 years to get rid of all the chemicals, from not to have a trace of those chemicals in the wine.
So does that mean that organic wines are actually provide more and better health benefits than non-organic wines?
I would say so.
No
I would
problem.
say so. And there have been studies, of course, made that. I mean, I would invite people to check our internet site, because we include references um, to to the sites which explain that the tests were made, and I mean, you can find this information on, if you look for if you search this information through the internet. But we try to put it all together so that people can actually learn something if they want to go deeper into the subject.
Well,
So
yeah. Well, once again, Madam, thank you for joining us here at the National Democracy's Choice. And viewers, thank you for joining us. And please, if you wish to log on for more information on French wines, Madam, would you give us the website again?
Yes, it is Kalestis Bio, that means Kalestis-bio.com.
There you go, folks. That's the information that you can get from. And once again, I'm Robin Steinberg. Thank you for joining me, and have a good week ahead.
Thank you.